Welcome to the Northwoods of Minnesota. We're going to do our yoga practice today focused on the personality type 1 on the Enneagram, which is the Perfectionist. And of course, already I have set myself up for a perfect example of how perfection can never be achieved. It's just myself and 3 dogs up here, one of which is a puppy. I just tried to set this one in her kennel and she would have none of that. So we'll see what happens with the dogs today as we practice. Just like to throw that little wrench in plans. But I feel for the ones. I am a 1 in a lot of my life. I behave like 1. I'm a 7 and I move there in stress. I take on that 1 energy. And it's good for me a lot of times because I can actually get some stuff done. When it's not great is when I might become resentful or picky and then just angry about what's happening that I think shouldn't be happening. So as we flow today, think about that 1 space. The 1s just want things to be right and things to be good. Now, if you're 1 in your yoga practice, you might struggle with wanting your practice to achieve perfection. And the truth is, yoga is not a practice of perfection. It's a practice. It's a journey. And today, if you notice yourself, if you notice any oppositional hostility coming up, as Luna just represented there, within yourself, then just try to let that go and move to a place instead of serenity where you are accepting what is and allowing yourself to then move on. So let's see how it goes. We'll start in child's pose today. Come down onto your knees, spread the knees wide, hips down to your heels, hands walk forward, forehead touches the earth. Allow yourself to find rest here. If it's too intense to drop your hips all the way down to your heels, you can always shift forward a little bit so the hips are lifted off the ground. Modify in any way you need. Find stillness and close your eyes. Take time to observe the sensations in your body and any emotion that you might hold right now from the day or the night before. What's lingering? And then choose to be instead in the present moment. Being aware simply of yourself on the mat and your breath. If you haven't already, begin to deepen that breath in and out through your nose, letting your breath be so big that it moves your body. Rock your head side to side. And begin to make your way up onto hands and knees any way that you like to get there. Eventually, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. And begin that cat and cow movement. Inhale, drop the belly, look up, shoulders back. Exhale, round your spine, chin to your chest. A couple times with your breath. Come to a neutral spine. Engage your core. Reach your right arm to the front, your left heel to the back in opposition. Just take 1 rounding of the spine, elbow to knee underneath you. Hold there for 2 breath cycles. Inhale, reach long again. Plant your right hand on the ground, kick your right toes to the right, and lift your left arm. Extend the left leg straight, flex your foot, begin a little pulsing motion, lifting and lowering, engaging your core and your glutes. You can continue that pulsing movement, or if you want, take your left hand to grab your left foot. pulling your heel in toward your glute, achieving a quad stretch. And then just for a moment, really press your foot into your hand actively. And then let that power go. Pull the heel back in. Extend the leg long again, reach high. And then set your left foot flat on the ground. Reach your left arm up and over the crown of your head. Press into the earth so much with your right hand, you could even lift your right knee off the ground there for a second, feeling this big rainbow with your body. Inhale, reach the left arm high one last time. Exhale, hand comes down. Going right on to the opposite side, left arm and right leg reach long, as if someone were pulling them front to back. Exhale, knee to elbow underneath you, pulling everything in and up, trying not to let your toes touch the ground. One more breath. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, left hand comes down. Kick your toes out onto off your mat a little bit for balance. See if you can keep the right leg lifted. I can't here. I have to readjust. Right leg lifts again if it touched the ground, and the right arm reaches high. Begin that pulsing movement. And then continue with the pulsing. Or if you know you can grab your foot, reach back. Make that connection happen. Pull the heel in toward your glute. You can tuck your tailbone a little bit here, or think about pushing your right hip flexor forward. And then move it to that active, pressing your foot into your hand for a moment. And then release, draw the heel as close as you can to your glute. And then reach long once more. Set the right foot flat on the ground. Reach the right arm up and over. Beautiful side body stretch here. And again, if you want to, you can even press into the ground. See if you can lift up that left knee. And then set it back down. Right arm lifts. And exhale. Come back to hands and knees. Curl your toes under. Feel your core engage. Hover your knees an inch or two off the ground here. The space in between your shoulder blades, reaching for the sky. One more inhale. Exhale, hips high. Coming into your first down dog, walking it out. Bending one knee at a time. Core is engaged in down dog. You can add a tiny bend to your elbows, drawing them underneath you. That will pull your shoulders down your back. I like to try to lift my toes here too. Draws that magnetic force of the heels toward the earth. Keep in mind though, as there's no perfect yoga pose, there's no perfect down dog. Whether or not your heels touch the ground in down dog doesn't matter. Just imagine the force connecting them. One more inhale. Exhale, walk your feet up right behind your hands. Stay low here in the torso. Bend your knees as much as you like. I often bend one knee and then the other here. Do whatever you need to do. Shake your head, sway your torso. And if balance is good, walk the feet closer together, possibly to touch. Inhale, half lift, tiny bend in the knees, long spine, shoulders drawing down your back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, right hand to your right hip, pushing your hip to the left as you lean to the right. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, switch sides. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, cactus your arms, gaze up. Inhale, reach high, come up off the heels for just a moment. And then heels down, hinge from your waist, from the hips, with a flat back for as long as you can, and then fold forward, rounding your spine. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a high plank. You can certainly be on your knees here. I'll do it on the knees the first time through. You don't lose activation in the upper body. In fact, if you want to lift your feet, that can help motivate the full body engagement. Exhale, take one chaturanga, elbows moving to the back. And we'll go to cobra the first time through. So come all the way down to the belly and chin. Inhale, lift your head, your heart. We'll even lift the hands and the feet here. You can have a little flutter in the feet. And then press back to hands and knees. Curl the toes under. Lift your hips high, returning to down dog. Check in with your breath. Try to even it out, in and out, through your nose. Lengthening both your inhale and your exhale. Legs are engaged. You might feel your kneecaps lift. And one more inhale. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hug in. Inhale, rise up, reach high. Connect your palms this time, making a steeple grip, pointing to the sky as you exhale and lean over to the side. Inhale through center. Exhale, lean left. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, cactus your arms, gaze up. Reach high again, come up off the heels. And then heels down, exhale, fold forward. Step your feet apart, about hip width distance here. Plant your left hand on the ground, reach your right arm high. Both knees might be bent, or you can straighten your right leg. Think about your hip pulling behind you. If you want, you could even reach your right arm over the crown of your head. And then take the right hand down, left arm reaches high, right knee bends. Left leg might straighten, hip pulls back, left arm reaches to the front. Exhale, both hands down. Step the feet closer together once more. Take your half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Taking your one chaturanga, this time maybe with your body lifted, hovering. Inhale, up dog, hands and tops of the feet, the only thing on the earth. Exhale, down dog. Now this practice will be interesting. Dogs on the mat. Inhale the right leg high. Exhale, step this foot forward in between your hands. Come lightly onto your right, on your fingertips, both fingertips, so you can reach the crown of your head forward, engage your core, lengthen your spine, and then rise up to crescent. Bend and straighten the back leg. Noticing what feels good today. You'll feel a hip in the a stretch in the front of the left hip flexor. But you also want to try to deepen the bend in your right knee. Exhale, lean forward, long spine. While you're leaning forward, take your left arm in front of you, reach your right arm behind you, and twist. In this twist, you can powerfully straighten the left leg. Exhale, both hands down to the mat and rotate to face the left long side of your mat. You can either come into a lateral lunge here, hand on a knee, and switch back and forth, right to left in that lateral lunge. Or you can take it deep to Skandasana, a half squat on the right side, left heel on the ground. Your hands can either walk right to left, or you can have your hands at your heart. The next time you get back to the right, plant your hands, make your way to down dog. If you want to keep that right leg lifted, you can. Connect with your breath. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step it forward. Come lightly to the fingertips. Engage your core. Rise up. I don't know if you were able to hear the scuffle on the lake, but it sounded like some loons were going a little crazy out there. Bend and straighten the right leg. Simply to feel and notice. This is all about just noticing how you feel, where the tension is, where the openness is. And then exhale, lean forward. Pull the left hip back a little bit, really straighten the right leg. And then reach the right arm forward. Left arm comes behind you for that twist. And exhale, hands to the ground. You'll walk around to face the right long side of your mat this time, walking the hands to the center. Taking a moment in a forward fold, V, legs, heels out, toes in. If your hands are on the ground, press into the earth to draw your shoulders down your back. Engage your core here to take you deeper. And then come out of that deepest place, walk your hands, keep your hips central, walk your hands over to the left. So your right hand comes to the outside of your left leg at any point, and then bend into your right knee. So you feel this, a twist in the torso, nice, maybe stretching the inner thigh on the left side. Release that hold, straighten both legs, walk through center. Take your hands over to the right, left hand coming to the outside of the right leg. Bend into your left knee as you hug your heart toward your right leg. Come back to center. You know, as I'm here and I see I'm gazing at these two dogs that are just chilling out watching the lake. They are a picture of serenity. They roll with it. They don't think things should be any different than they are, at the moment that is. Walk your hands around to frame the left foot, step the left leg back, maybe keep it lifted and long if you want to, in your chaturanga. Inhale, open the heart, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Deep inhale. Exhale, walk the feet up to your hands and go ahead and come on to your seat. Taking a boat pose before we get into our sun C. Grab behind the legs so you can lengthen your spine. You're welcome to keep your toes on the earth if you want, or lift them. You can keep your hands there for support or release them. You can certainly begin to straighten your legs if you would like. 3 more breaths. It's helpful to have a dog underneath your lower back for support too. Exhale, release, grab the front of your legs, roll onto your back for a moment. Pulling your knees into your chest, rock a little side to side. And then set your feet flat on the ground, just taking one bridge pose. Seal your lower back to the earth, engage your glutes, and lift your hips up off the ground. You're welcome to roll, rock your shoulders underneath you, interlacing the fingers and pressing your arms into the earth. And if you'd like, keep the knees in line, extend your right leg straight for a full breath, trying not to let the hips drop. Set the right foot down, extend the left leg long, full breath. And then the left foot comes down. One more inhale. Exhale, hips to the ground. Pull your knees in and begin to rock up and down the length of your mat. We'll meet up in down dog, however you'd like to get there, flowing through or just stepping back. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise up, reach tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll begin a series with the pose that's representative of the one in my Yenneagram course. And this pose was suggested by some friends who are ones, and they love the idea of tree pose as their figure. So shift weight into your right foot, seal that foot to the ground, draw the left foot. Well, let's start from the beginning. Your left toes can remain on the ground. This is a perfect and lovely tree. And if you're just beginning to work with balance, think about your core engaged. You're not leaning over to the right. Your supporting leg is strong. And if you're just playing with balance, lift and lower the toes. Lift and lower. If you know you can go to a one leg balance, you can seal the sole of your foot to your calf. If you know you can go higher, avoid your knee joint, place that foot in the inner thigh. If your foot is on the inner thigh, there's a powerful connection there, powerful pressing together. And your tree branches can go wherever you like. Reaching high, opening up. That's the thing with this tree pose. Though the ones love it because you're either in or you're out, seemingly, we all have this idea of what the tree pose should look like, perhaps, if we're familiar with yoga. But really, there are many, many different ways. You can lean your tree. Your tree can fall. Trees fall all the time. You could lift up off your right heel, reaching further for the sun. There's so many different ways your tree can look, and it can be perfect in each place. So consider that. Find that serenity with whatever is today, wherever your balance is. Just be okay with it. Exhale, hands to your heart if they're not there already. And release your foot off the leg. See if you can keep the left leg lifted, that knee lifted. And then just step the foot back in its own train track all the way to the back of your mat, flat on the ground. Warrior one is where we're setting up. Take your hands to your hips for a moment. Your left hip is trying to shine to the front. Doesn't matter how much you're bending into the right knee, just a little bend at least, and straightness in the left leg. Reach your arms high when you're ready. Exhale, interlace the hands behind your lower back. Inhale, straighten the arms if that's available. Open your heart, gaze up, lean back. And then fold into humble warrior. Your right shoulder reaching for the inside of your right knee. Crown of the head magnetized toward the ground. Eventually, maybe even the crown of your head touches the ground. I have not gotten there. Don't know that I ever will. That's fine. See what's available today. If balance is very shaky, your hands can release and come to the ground. If your hands remain clasped, see if you can lift them up and off your back, any amount. Exhale, release your hands down. Step the back foot up to where it's about 1.5 feet behind the right, still in its own train track though. Inhale, half lift. Hands come to your shin or your thigh as you do that, lengthening your spine. And then your left hand comes to the outside of the right leg as the right arm reaches high, revolving a pyramid here. You're welcome to have the left hand on the ground too. I would just love it if you are feeling length in the spine and not rounding and crunching over. It gives you more openness. You're able to breathe easier here. And you're also working both the obliques and even more powerfully the leg muscles as you press into the earth to extend your spine. I see a hawk right now in this pose. Just soaring. Love it. Exhale, right hand comes down. Step the left foot back to the back of your mat, this time lining it up behind the right. So the right heel is in line with the left arch. More or less, we're standing on a straight line. Do what's available to you. Inhale, open up, coming into warrior two with the right leg forward. Adjust as you need to. You want to feel weight in the heel of the right foot. Your foot is flat on the ground, of course, but you're just not pressing into the toe here. Pressing into the whole foot, but definitely feeling it in the heel. For this warrior two, we're going to have a little bit of motion involved. So turn your head to face, well, what feels like the front. Face the direction of your torso and your hips. And then take your hands, fingertips behind your head. We're going to do crunches to the side. Exhale, right elbow reaches down. It doesn't need to touch anything. It just reaches down. Inhale, right elbow reaches to the sky. Exhale to crunch. So if you're back, we're flat against a wall. So the elbows remain wide. I'm shifting my gaze so that it's always up. That helps remind me to keep my heart open. And then you might see if you can bend your right knee even deeper. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. And then on the inhale, straighten your right leg, arms to a T, and then right arm up and over the crown of your head, reversing a triangle. Draw the arms to a T. I'm going to shorten my stance just a little. Take time to shift your hips to the back as you reach to the front, and then take your right arm in front of your right leg. Left arm reaches high. Tiny bend, a micro bend in the right knee can be helpful. Maybe little by little, the right fingers inch closer to the earth. That's where that magnetic pull is, but there's no need for the fingers to touch the ground. You certainly wouldn't want to turn your heart or curve and change the triangle posture to make that happen. This is all about length, openness, and strength. One more inhale. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step the right leg back, either to high plank or keep it lifted as you flow through high to low. You back, Maisie? Oh, thank you. Thanks, pupper. Okay. All right, this is a perfect practice, isn't it? All done. All done. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Hey, Crosby, why don't you play with Maisie? We'll see if I might have to take a break here. Okay. Hold on. All right, and we're back. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Take your half lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise up, reaching high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Setting up for tree on the other side. Draw weight into your left foot, right toes on the ground, so you can keep your right knee facing outward and just play with the balance. That's phase one, a perfect tree with toes on the ground. You can also have a perfectly imperfect tree with your foot at your calf, or you can have a perfectly imperfect tree with your right foot sealed to the inner thigh. You don't have to do the same tree you did on the other side. Different root system on this side. And we all have a dominant leg, just like we have a dominant hand, dominant eye. So take note of which side feels stronger, more stable. Grow your branches or keep them at your heart. Continue deep breath. Play around. knowing that anything works here. You can play with that tree until you fall out of it, or maybe you don't fall, but your limbs go crazy. One more breath in. If you hear a sound of water, lapping water, that is a dog drinking water. Hands to your heart. Draw your knee in front of you, so you're still balancing on the left leg, and then set the right foot all the way the back of your mat in its own train track. So there's a little bit of space right to left, a lot front to back. Hands come to your hips so you can feel that right hip trying to rotate to the front, but there's this counter force where the outer edge of your right foot is also trying to touch the ground, making a connection there. Whenever you're ready, arms reach high. Exhale, interlace the hands behind your lower back, the opposite grip, the one you don't normally go to, so it feels a little weird. And then take time to straighten the arms. Inhale, open your heart, look up. Exhale, fold into humble warrior. We'll see how this goes. Inside of your left shoulder to the inside of your left knee. What tends to happen in this pose, at least for me, is my hips kind of inch out to the left, to the left, to the left, and my heart starts moving toward the middle of my legs. So I am drawing my hips into the long line, keeping my hips in between my feet, drawing the crown of my head toward the front of my mat. One more inhale. Exhale, hands come down, shorten your stance so the right foot steps up, still in its own train track. Hips square, take your half lift, lengthening your spine. Here I'll keep a micro bend in the left knee. Right hand comes to the outside of the left leg, left arm reaches high. Long spine, of course your hand could be on the ground there. Exhale, left hand down. Take time to step your right foot all the way to the back of your mat. This time more in the straight line. So the left heel is in line with the right arch, more or less. Opening up to warrior two on this side. Taking time to settle into a firm foundation. Your shoulders are over your hips. That left knee is jutting out over the left toes, not in or out too much. Protect your joints. And then turn so your nose is pointed in the direction of your torso. Hands come right behind your head, just lightly to rest there, elbows long as you crunch. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. Go as slowly as you can with your breath here. Never going for speed. Avoiding momentum, using strength. Last two, maybe dip deeper into your bend on the left knee. After your next crunch, down. Inhale, straighten the left leg, reach the left arm up and over, reversing your triangle. And then draw your arms to a T. I'm going to shorten my stance just a little bit, but toes are in the same direction, hips move to the back, left arm forward, left arm comes in front of the left leg, right arm reaches high. With each deep breath, possibly sinking a little lower, left fingertips magnetized toward the earth, but never crunching and folding. We tend to sometimes turn our heart to the ground and then draw the right arm back behind us. Make sure your wingspan is long and in line. One more inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Flow through high to low, or just come back to down dog if there's a dog on your mat. Reset your breath. One more inhale. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. We're going to do a version of the same series, a little bit quicker, slightly different. Draw your hands to your heart. We will start with tree pose again. Just that reminder of sometimes what the idea we have is of perfection in our mind when the reality is truly never perfect. Starting with the right foot on the ground, left toes on the earth, taking the tree of your choice. A lot of factors going on here, a lot of things potentially throwing me off. One more inhale. Exhale, release. Keep that knee held up. This time, draw your arms to a low V. Keep the hips in line, so the hips remain square, but you extend your left leg back behind you, coming into airplane pose. So the left pinky toe is facing the ground. Got a little bit of up dog opening in your heart. Good place to gaze is in front of you, 5 or 6 feet. And if you'd like to, you can bend and straighten the right leg. Possibly never locking that knee joint, just to protect that knee. Inhale, come to stand tall, hands to your heart. Extend the left leg out straight in front of you. See how high you can lift it. And then exhale, step the left foot all the way to the back of your mat, taking warrior one. Exhale, hands to your heart. Now, this is one that I do not like doing, but we're going to do it just because of that. It's either an elbow hook or just a twist. I'm going to take my left hand to the outside of my right knee and my right hand to my hip, twisting the torso here. The other variation, I'll see if I can do it. Hooking that elbow. You just want to re-lengthen your spine. It's a difficult pose for me. It's not perfect. One more breath out. Inhale, rise up. I'm going to readjust my feet just a little so the right heel is in line with the left arch. And this time, extended side angle is where we're going instead of those crunches. So reach your right arm forward, take your right forearm to your right quad, left arm up and over the crown of your head. And if you want to sink lower, try to bend into your right knee so the whole angle drops, an extended side angle. Half bind if you like, left arm reaching around behind you, possibly grabbing onto the top of your right leg. Full bind is there for you as well. Inhale, straighten the right leg, reach the right arm up and over, reverse your triangle. And this time we're going to take it into half moon. 2 ways to get into this pose. I really like just shifting my weight from the top as if I were just sliding down a wall, keeping everything open, my torso, my hips, everything open to the side, to the left side. The more stable way to get there is if you take everything to the ground, hands and knees, hands and feet. Lift your left leg up behind you, first in an L shape, and then open up your hip to the left side. You can start by taking your left hand to your left hip, and then maybe reaching the arm up to the sky. Dog commotion. The right hand is in front of your right foot, and then maybe you build up your core to where you hover the fingers off the earth. Or if you have a block, it's great to put a block underneath your right hand for lift. One more breath. Oh my gosh. Oh, the trials and tribulations. Exhale, step back, flow through, high to low, maybe with the right leg lifted. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Take a half lift. a fold in. Inhale, rise up, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Starting off with tree, left leg supporting, right toes on the ground. Take your variation. 2 more breaths here. Core is very engaged as you release your leg, but lift your right knee up in front of you. Take your arms to the low V, shoulders pulling back toward one another behind you, and then extend the right leg to the back of your mat. Airplane pose. Adding the bend in your leg, deep bend if you want to. Building muscle, challenging your balance. Exhale all the air out. Inhale, rise up. See if you can keep the right toes off the ground. Extend your right leg out in front of you. See how high you can lift it. And then exhale, set the right foot down at the back of your mat in its own train track. Warrior 1 first. And then moving into Courtney's least favorite pose. Maybe hands to your heart. And either right hand to the outside of your left knee, or see if you can hook the right elbow outside of the knee and re-lengthen your spine without your right foot coming up off the mat. Push all the air out. Inhale, unwind, and then come into Warrior 2. Standing more on a straight line. This time reaching forward, taking the extended version, left forearm to your left quad, right arm up and over. And then your choice, if you want to reach closer to the earth, half bind, right arm wraps around behind, could grab for the top of your leg. The gaze is up to remind the heart to remain lifted. Full bind. If you take the full bind, try to re-engage the core, lifting your torso away from your leg, even if it doesn't separate, even if it remains connected. That's the force that's happening. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Reverse triangle. And exhale, arms to a T, coming into half moon on this side. Again, either beginning to lean over, imagining your heel and the crown of your head reaching in opposite directions. If you want to start from the ground, everything touches the earth. You start with extending the right leg up, opening the hip. Right hand can come to the hip. Left hand is placed in front of your left leg. Right arm reaches high. And then if you want to, you could lift the fingertips up off the ground. One more inhale. Exhale, plant your hands, flow through, high to low, or just meet up in down dog. Inhale to high plank. Exhale, down dog, and take your right hand to touch the outside of your left leg anywhere. Inhale back to high plank. Exhale, left hand to the outside of your right leg. Keep that going with your breath. Every time you come to high plank, or even in down dog, try to maintain a tiny bend in your elbows. Continues to work strength, build strength rather, and protect your joints from hyperextension. Last one each side. Come back to down dog. Shorten your stance a little bit, going for your deepest stretch and twist here yet. Take your right hand to the outside of your left leg, maybe even your left ankle, and see if you can gaze under your left armpit. If you can bend the right elbow, deep twist, deep stretch. And exhale, release. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, left hand to the outside of your right leg, maybe at the ankle, gazing under your armpit. Bending your left elbow for a deeper stretch. I'm lifting my toes here too. No gripping there. And exhale, release. Come down to your knees. So you're in tabletop, and then walk your tabletop around to the side. I normally fold my mat over to pad my knees. I'll just do one side, but you can imagine the other side turning over too. Taking it into frog pose, a deep stretch for the legs, the inner thighs. So begin to step the knees out, shins parallel, toes pointing outward. This is also a pose that every body is so unique. And you're going to feel this differently. My hips are such that I will never connect my pelvic bone to the floor here. Some people are built in a way where they're just flat to the ground. If you don't feel this enough, experiment with trying to either widen your knees or kick your heels out or press your hips back a little bit. Draw them forward, see what works best. Once you find a good spot to hold, rest your forehead on your hands or on the ground. See if the place you hold you can release tension in your shoulders, your brow, and your jaw. And then really try to let go in the hips. You might be surprised, even though it feels like there's nowhere to go here, your knee could slip a little, a millimeter at a time, outward, deepening the stretch. Last full breath in and out. And this is often the worst part, coming out. Press up, begin to walk the knees back toward one another. Take any movement you need to release and let go, and then come to a seat. We'll lie down on your back. Pull your knees into your chest first, rock a little side to side. And then take the knees, open them out wide. It should feel similar. You should feel very open. And either hold here or grab for the soles of your feet. Happy baby. But just make sure your lower back can still touch the ground, as can your head. If either of those pop way up off the ground, just return to that knee hold. And then release. Step your feet onto the earth here. One more bridge pose. Seal your lower back to the ground. Squeeze your glutes and lift your hips. Rock your shoulders underneath you if that is accessible and helpful. And then you have the option to extend one leg at a time for one breath. And set your hips down on the ground. Cross your right ankle over your left knee and press, even with your hand, you could press your right knee forward here. That might be enough of a stretch. If you want more, grab behind the left thigh. Then you could use your right elbow to press the right knee away from your torso. Another option to take it deeper would be to straighten the left leg, and then maybe you reach for the calf or the big toe. Just try to, again, make sure your lower back is on the ground. And because I love options, another one is if you cradled your right shin by putting your foot in the crook of your left elbow and your knee in the crook of your right, and then extending your left leg down to the ground. That's a really deep stretch. And slowly begin to come out. Setting both feet down, walking the feet wide to the edges of your mat, and then letting the knees fall together to the right and to the left. Loosening up your lower back. And then come to stillness, plant the right foot down, across the left ankle over the right knee. First, pressing with your hand. Press the knee away from your body. If you can go deeper, grab behind your right thigh. Use your left elbow to push the knee away. You have the option of straightening the right leg. Do you hear my back popping? I feel it. Happens on the side and not on the other. Again, we all have our many quirks. If you want to cradle the left shin, the foot goes on the right elbow, knee in your left. None of this looks beautiful, but all of it feels really good. It's just finding what works best for you in this moment. And then release whatever hold you have. Both feet flat on the ground. One more time, knees dropping right and left. And taking it into candlestick pose, or legs up the wall. If you need support here, you can grab your legs. You could sit on your hands. Other option is shoulder stand. Take time to draw your toes over the crown of your head. Woo. So you can rock your shoulders underneath you, support your lower back, and then lift the legs high. Begin to make your way onto your back if your spine is lifted. Pulling the knees in. Extending the left leg long. Taking it into spinal twists, the right knee. Moving over to the right, left arm and gaze extending to the left. And switching sides, come onto your back, relax the right leg long, left knee Moves across your body, left arm, and gaze. Reach to the left. Come back to center. Take any last pose you need, get any fidgets out, and then find final Shavasana, lying flat, relaxing, finding support underneath you, letting go of any sense of how things should be so that you can rest in the serenity of what is. You've burned away any oppositional hostility toward reality. Allow yourself to settle in. Begin to deepen your breath. And draw movement to your fingers, your toes. Reawakening. Slowly pull your knees into your chest. Rock to one side. And press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Draw your hands to your heart. Feeling that gratitude from yourself to yourself. Resting in the complexity that we all have room to grow, even as we are perfect as we are. May you take that peace and the serenity with you as you go about your day, your evening. Thanks for joining me for this practice. Namaste. Well, the dogs certainly helped me breathe into the imperfection of my own practice and this practice of recording videos. I do thank you for joining me and look forward to the next time.